All right. As the music to Dragon Age Inquisition fades the hell out, let me say good morning to you all from the beautiful west coast of British Columbia, Canada. Whereupon I have returned to this world of digital content creation. Because, hey, that's what you know me as. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Gail. Good morning to those of the rest of you in the chat. I hope I'm able to be heard. Whoa. All right. A little bit of KMFDM for you this morning. Okay. Let us get the game volume on there and let me explain to you what's going on. Hey, missed you guys. All right. How's it going? All right. So, to Gail, to the rest of you in the chat, to those of you on the VOD, let me just say hello to you all and explain to you what's going on. It's been a hot minute since I had anything. Wow, this music, though. Let's bring this down, shall we? There we go. The beautiful music of Fields of Ruin. So where have I been? What have I been doing? Who the hell am I? I have even forgotten at this point. Hoping that the volume on the microphone is right. It has, of course, been a hot minute. Let me go ahead and get into the live game here. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting, isn't it? There we go. Live video gaming. There it is. Okay. Almost like I know what I'm doing. Thank you. Thank you, Gail. Voice is where it needs to be. And until I buy my new microphone, that's where it's at. So the reason why I'm doing this stream is I just kind of wanted to update everybody. Usually in the past, under situations like this, I'd probably go ahead and I would probably make a video or something. But you know, that was before I learned how to stream and all these interesting things that I did back in the day. All right, so there we go. Currently sitting here on Condi Mirage, Staff Mirage. Those of you who may be looking for a big game hunting build, you may want to look into that. So what have I been doing? Why have I not been making content? What the hell has been going on? So I hope those of you with questions will either, tune into this or pass the link to this live stream around. Just get it up. So let's go back to where the last of the content was. The last of the content was about 5 months ago, I want to say. 5 months ago, the last time I made a video. So if we go back then, there's a few reasons for the lack of content. I think at this point I'm just going to find a nice place to zip around on my mount and kind of fly around while I'm talking to y'all. We will do that. So going back to that point, I got a new job, which obviously can take up a little bit of your time when you are just starting a new job. So there was that. Congratulations to me. Yay. But that only lasts a couple of months. When you start a new job, you come home a little bit frazzled regardless of the job. So there was that, but that obviously doesn't account for the entire kind of thing. One of the things was I just wasn't having a whole lot of fun playing Guild Wars 2. Gonna be honest with you guys. We'll get into that in a little bit about kind of why I was down on it. But I am a big believer that if I'm not enjoying the game, it's going to come through with the content. I think it was absolutely coming through on the last few streams I did. I think it was very kind of evident that I wasn't enjoying the game as much as I used to. As to why, like I say, I'll get into that in a little bit. I'm not here to kind of air my grievances with Guild Wars 2 because I certainly believe it's a good game. Snewy, welcome. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Doing well here. Just kind of updating everybody on exactly where kind of what I've been at. So yeah, I was not enjoying playing Guild Wars 2. And if Caddy were here, Caddy Wampus were here, she would pretty much back me up on that. I was getting pretty salty. And it's really always been my kind of theory that or my thinking that if I wasn't enjoying playing the game, that I wouldn't make the content because I knew it would come through in the content. And I've never been about, making content just to grow the channel. I've never been into anything like that. If I was worried about growing this channel would be a very different thing. It would have some very different content on it, etc. So it's never really been the concern. So I took a little bit of a time out, did some other stuff. What have I been doing? I've been playing other video games. Oh no. Emotional contagion, it's real, so I try to protect. I'm not sure what that means. So yeah, basically I was playing some other games. What have I been playing? I have been playing a game called Solastra Crown of the Magistrar, which is a game based on Dungeons and Dragons rules. I have been playing a whole lot of Tekken 7, which has been a true joy. And I have been playing a whole lot of Grim Dawn. And I don't know if any of you have heard about Grim Dawn, but I've been playing a lot of Grim Dawn. I've been playing... it's a game very much like Diablo 2, only it's got some really good buildcraft in it. So I've been sessioning Grim Dawn pretty heavily. Kim, no. Yeah, Grim Dawn is amazing. I picked that up for like $9 on Steam a couple of weeks ago, and I've been no-lifing the hell out of that. And for those of you guys who don't know the type of game, the style of game, it's basically an ARPG, so it's kind of a top-down kind of deal, loot grinder. And again, it's got some of the best buildcraft that I played probably outside of this game. So I have been playing the living hell out of Grim Dawn for the last few weeks. So part of that is I don't labor under the illusion that anybody's at all interested in any of the, in any content that isn't Guild Wars related around here. I'm pretty sure about that. I've seen enough of my fellow content creators try to branch out into other games, etc., to know that that's really not what people have kind of signed up to my channel for. So, you're not going to see any Tekken 7 videos of me on Lucky Chloe, and you're not going to see any Grim Dawn. Well, you may see a Grim Dawn video later in the future. I'll get into that at some point. There is content coming. And I'll talk about that in a little bit too. So again, yeah, I've been scratching my itch on other games, and I've actually, if you know me, if I'm on your friends list, I've actually been playing a fair bit of Guild Wars over the last couple of months. And I have I have a bunch of builds to share, and I have a bunch of content to make and stuff like that. So it's not a question of me kind of dropping Guild Wars at this point. But I was not having fun. I was not having fun. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm pretty sure that came through in particularly the last 3 or 4 streams I did before I kind of took a break there. And it's always kind of been my thinking that, if I'm not, if the passion for the game is not coming through, then I really shouldn't be making any content. Really, it's just the way I've been looking at it. And I probably should have updated people. I will absolutely own that part of it. But at the same point, I just didn't want to fill my social media feeds with, hey, I'm just not feeling like making videos, guys. And I kind of got tired of talking about making content instead of actually making the content, which was another reason for the break. So yeah, there is some content coming. It is not going to be about other video games. So there will be some Guild Wars 2 content coming. Where I'm at with the game right now is I'm really just kind of waiting to see what the plan is, because, you know, a big part of my dissatisfaction with the game was we went through a 1 year content drought before End of Dragons. And I haven't been enjoying season one. Season one to me was not a whole lot of content. So I know that I know that's a hot take. I know that some people really have been enjoying season one. If you have, then great. But I was always an opponent of spending a year to re-add that content to Guild Wars 2 at the cost of new things. And I think a year where all we got was one strike mission and some recycled content just kind of left me in a bad state, as a fan of the game. So I'm not, I get that the game is doing okay. I guess the numbers came out this week and Guild Wars 2 is up 25% revenue year over year. So, I'm sure the Steam thing helped. I'm sure that there are some people that are very happy for the reintroduction of Season 1 into Guild Wars 2. I wasn't one of those people. I never was one of those people. I'd always prefer new content. So after End of Dragons and not enjoying Season 1, there just was a lack of things for me to do. The other thing I'm just going to put out there was I was not the biggest fan of End of Dragons, in terms of the content. I think it was a good X-Pack. It was certainly worth $30. But if you're going to ask me if I enjoyed End of Dragons as much as I enjoyed Path of Fire, I'm going to tell you that, I went through Path of Fire end to end, map complete to map complete, story beginning to end four times in a row after it was released. I no-lifed the hell out of that stuff, but when it came to End of Dragons, I kind of finished it and went, oh yeah, all right. And it's not that it was a bad expansion pack. It just didn't hold as much value for me as some of the other content that ArenaNet has done. That said, I really liked the elite specs from the X Pack. I thought that the elite specs, with the possible exception of the Thief one, Spectre, didn't miss the mark with me personally. I get that there are some people who liked it, but Spectre missed the mark. But otherwise, the elite specs were all good. The story was okay. I certainly appreciated the differences in how the story was delivered to us. In terms of the X-Pack, they certainly did some things with the story delivery that I really enjoyed. But I didn't think much of the actual story itself. I think that a few things were missed, a few marks were missed in terms of it. And it just didn't have the long-term value for me. So let's get in. POF added so much essential stuff to the game. I can see why EOD didn't hold as much value as Path of Fire. Snooey, yeah, I think that there's I think that a lot of that actually gets to the fact that I'm a veteran. I think that as a newer player, if I were jumping into the franchise with EOD, I think that EOD is a really great introduction to the franchise. But for a veteran, I just don't know if it really held the same thing. Adventuring Across America saying, feeling the same thing right about now about EOD. Yeah, wow, before the X-Pack, I was talking about how I rated the expansions in Guild Wars, and I said that, Path of Fire was possibly the best X-Pack in any MMO that I had ever played. I would give it a 9. I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. I would give End of Dragons like a 7. It just didn't keep me engaged. The thing right now is you don't owe us anything, and you did make so much content out of free will. I'm sure that anyone with a right mind would respect your personal interest. We like, oh yeah, Kim. There's gonna be more. There's gonna be more content. And to that end, people have been pretty understanding. Most people have been really just worried about, me personally, and like, hope you're doing okay. What it'd be nice if you update us. Just worried about my personal well-being, and for that, that has been the absolute majority of it. So I'm not going to worry about that. The response to my channel and people in general has always been so fucking positive. And a lot of the things that you might think I might have had to deal with, I haven't. Like, people have been so positive and just so personally nice. Since I started this channel, people have been super respectful. I'll worry about maybe a comment every couple of weeks that may step over the bounds, but otherwise, people are just super nice, super nice. And absolutely, that's part of the reason why I'm just kind of jumping on today and talking about this all this stuff. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying, EOD just didn't grab me. I was gonna make a legendary. I'm missing one last legendary weapon. The terrestrial weapons, I'm missing a longbow. Otherwise, I have all the weapons, and I was gonna do that. And I get to the content, and I'm like, well, this is really kind of missing the mark with me as a player. I get that. I get that. That's a bit of a hot take. I think that a lot of people really enjoyed End of Dragons, and good for them. Good for them. But in my case, it was just missing the mark in terms of what it was delivering. And my hope was that Living World would kind of shore that up. And unfortunately, Living World is nowhere to be found. Living World is the season 1 thing, and then we've been promised something with a new map sometime in the new year, and that really is kind of all we're at. I don't know if they put out the roadmap this week. I won't worry too much about that. But I guess what's important is, as I'm talking here at this point, guys, I think I just really like to make it clear that while I may not have been personally enjoying the game, I don't think the game's in a bad place. I think the game's in actually a pretty good place. I think that there's been a lot of positive change in the move ahead in the past year. I think that the move towards strike missions and repeatable content was really good. I think that they gave us some actual challenge in a few points, and that was all right. So there we go. Feeling the new elite classes from EOD had been very selfish compared to HOT and POF. EOD release was so hyped up, and then ended. I was like, was that it? Excuse me. I'm not sure how much I agree with that. The selfishness of the new specs. Certainly Untamed and Bladesworn. Virtuoso. Absolutely selfish specs. But then I looked to other things that came out. Vindicators got some really... Excuse me. Vindicator's got some really interesting options. Gonna just mute my mic for a second here. 2 seconds. And I thought that there were some interesting things that came out of those elite specs. But yeah, there were a few selfish ones. But then I suppose Dragon Hunter, Deadeye. I mean, Deadeye's so fucking horrible. Are also really, kind of selfish specs. Hope you can make a new Soul Beast guide. I've been searching for one and checking your old videos, but I'm not sure if your old one is still viable right now. Snooey, the old Condi Soul Beast video is absolutely viable still. Condi Soul Beast, actually, if I'm not mistaken, got a small bump in the last balance patch. It's either the one that just came out or the one they're about to do. Condi Soul Beast probably is top 10 in terms of viable open world builds. It's still in a great place. I would highly recommend Condi Soul Beast. I really enjoy it. I wish they would change the requirements for flying. I don't know. I never found it a huge grind. I think particularly if you probably were to go through the game now and just go, season 2 all the way to End of Dragons, you probably have the map currencies for the flying mounts pretty easily now with the whole return to achievements. I don't know. I think that the new specs were very exciting, but I think that several of them made me feel a little put off by how they departed from the core class fantasy. I don't know how much class fantasy means in Guild Wars 2. I think in a game where, Revenant Hammer is a ranged weapon, I gotta think that a lot of that has gone out. I don't know how much class fantasy is left. I think that the new specs did a really good job of kind of filling the multi-class role. I think they did a really, really good job of that. I think that most of them had a really good spot. As I said, the only one I didn't enjoy was the Thief spec. I just didn't think it was fun. And I've tried. I've put 1,000,000 hours into it. I was planning to go Power Soul Beast. If you're going for open world, I would choose Condi Soul Beast. Condi Soul Beast, you can run it in Trailblazer's armor. If you are doing any kind of instance content, yeah, definitely lean towards the power on that if you're going to be doing like fractals or raids or something like that. I don't know how far out of the meta it is on raids, but if I'm not mistaken, Power Soul Beast is still pretty close to the top of the list when it comes to fractals, etc. Power Soul Beast is still very viable, at least in open world. Tell you what, I've been playing a lot of power builds lately. I actually have whipped up a viable Dragon Hunter build that doesn't suck and actually uses longbow, which is one of the reasons I want to get back to making videos. One of the things I just want to put in front of you guys is, while I said I've been, not enjoying the game as much, I've been playing the hell out of Guild Wars 2, and I've got about a half dozen builds that I want to do videos on. One of them is Power Dragon Hunter. One of them is Power Spellbreaker. I want to update Spellbreaker because Spellbreaker is a lot of fun right now, even without the hammer. I know that the hammer is kind of big memes for that, but yeah. Spectre. I did give up trying on Spectre. I absolutely gave up trying on Spectre. I put a good 2 hours into it the other night. It was absolutely not my first attempt at making Spectre fun. And it's just that the class doesn't run right for me. And I get it. I've been kind of vocal about my feelings about where Thief is and where Thief is at. And while I get that Spectre fills that void really nicely that you kind of needed for Thief, it just isn't fun for me. And I'm done trying. I really am done trying for the time being. I still love Daredevil, but again, that's another one that is kind of a C tier open world generalist. It's doesn't really have a whole lot of boon support. It's a little bit squishy. You have to give a lot of damage up to make it survivable. So I still don't think Thief is in a really great spot. DH I love. Yeah, DH is in a pretty good spot right now for open world. If you can do a couple of things to bring the healing factor up on DH, it becomes a lot less glassy, and you can start to solo some pretty big things on DH. So I've been playing a lot of that. What else have I been playing? I've been playing the hell out of the Staff Mirage that I'm currently on. I have been playing a lot of Tempest, which I actually think Tempest is probably in the best spot for open world right now of any class. I think Celestial Tempest is probably the one thing that I want to play. Definitely, they buffed Power Guard by 10% to 15% more in the next patch. Yeah, I think it's in a pretty good place. Yeah, Tempest is You know, if I could only play one thing right now, I would be playing Alacrity Tempest in open world. I don't think that there's a better all-around generalist right now than Tempest, so I've been playing a lot of that. But of course, I've got a number of videos up of Elementalist up on the channel, so I don't see that one going up. I've been playing a lot of Condi Revenant, Condi Heralds. Condi Herald is probably top 5 these days. Condi Herald is in a really good spot because you don't even need the Firebrand runes to perma quickness on Condi Herald. Condi Herald is in a really, really good spot. So definitely on that. So with a few of you guys here right now, I'm going to put something else out to you guys that I kind of wanted to talk about and stuff like that. And I'm putting this out there as much for anybody who's in the chat right now and wants to offer a little feedback. Also, if you're watching this on VOD and you've got a few thoughts about what I'm about to say, hey, please put it down there because, again, I really just want everybody's kind of feedback if you've got any thoughts on the matter. The content's going to change on the channel a little bit, specifically the build videos, and I want to get into that and why and how they're going to change, etc. There's not going to be any more intros on the build videos, and I know that shocks a lot of people. I'm going to talk about that for a couple of quick seconds. I've been thinking a lot about the videos and what was making them take as long as they were. The intros are a big part of that. My humor largely hit and miss to begin with. So there is that. But really, I've kind of come to the realization that the new shorts format on YouTube is probably the best spot for those intro style content, those little meme videos that I've been doing and tacking onto the beginning of build videos. And I think they probably do better in the shorts format, the new shorts format that YouTube is doing. I think they probably belong there. More to the point, there's been a lot of kind of situations over the last couple of years where videos didn't get made in a timely manner because I was too worried about making an intro. And that is kind of what I'm looking to address. There's also been one of the biggest, the biggest cons about the content on my channel. One of the biggest pieces of feedback has been the length of time it takes to watch a video. So what I'm going to try doing is I'm going to try making some super short videos, and if you watched the but cheaper videos, you probably see where I'm going with that. So it's probably just going to be, short talky intro, build, gear, and how to play it. And the fashion content probably going by the side of the bus too. With the fashion content, I just don't think I have a whole lot left to say on the fashion. Like, all my best stuff is already up on my videos, and I just don't have a whole lot left in me. The other thing is all those fashion breaks put me in the situation where I was like going to be forced to actually like buy transmutation charges because I don't play enough competitive. Let me catch up with the chat here, guys. So I was hoping that they made a great sword ninja out of Thief instead of Spectre. That would have been cool. And it only got sweeter when they buffed the Scepter. Scepter and Tempest are a great pair of like biscuits and gravy. Yes. But I'm still running Dagger on my Tempest. So getting back to what I was saying, the build videos are going to be a lot shorter and more concise, mainly with the thought of getting more of them out in a more timely manner, so that I'm not sitting there going, oh, I wish I could do it. The other thing is I'd like to just, put some stuff up in the shorts format there for the channel. Because I actually really enjoyed making those. And more to the point, I want to just tell you guys, I do want to start making some videos very soon because what I miss most is actually making the videos. I've really been kind of missing on that. Interjecting the fashion breaks were of interest to me, but they didn't need to be filmed. If someone asks what you're wearing, it could be handled in comment reply. Yeah, there's two sides to that, and one side is that there's a certain quality that comes with my videos that, yeah, they take a half hour to watch, etc., but you kind of get a different vibe off them. I'm just looking to make everything a little bit more concise and make it easier for me to get content out to people, rather than having 50 things I have to do just to get a simple build video out. So that's kind of where that's at. I really actually just miss making videos more than anything, guys. The fashion breaks, it's funny, the fashion breaks were are a very popular part of the videos. It wasn't that they were unpopular. And what was actually funny was, while I was having the most traffic on the channel and I would do a premiere, you could actually watch people who would tune out the minute the fashion segments ended. It was pretty funny. But again, it's like I've got all my favorite looks up on all these videos, and I don't want to sit there and just put stuff together for the sake of a video. It's always kind of been the one thing I've worried about when making content, was just kind of phoning it in, and I never wanted to just kind of phone it in, and I'm not going to start now. I'd rather cut the content out than phone it in, I guess is the best way to put it. So that's kind of where we're going on that. So there is that. So my general kind of where I'm at this point, and just kind of want to share this with you guys, etc., is I want to make the content again better. I want to take it up to another level. I may be buying another microphone over the next couple of weeks, just to really kind of sculpt the voice part of it. But really, I guess what I'm most concerned about is just sitting down and doing some stuff. So to give you guys an idea of what is on tap, let me just hit my character screen here for a moment, and go over a few of the things that I have been working on. Let's go to the character select here. So, yeah, Tempest has already got a video. I would like to do a Staff Mirage video. Staff Mirage in a really good place. I'd like to do a Spellbreaker video. I would like to do a video on Condi Renegade. Dragon Hunter also in a really good spot right now. And I would like to also kind of catch up on the Virtuoso thing. The But Cheaper video talked about maybe taking it out of the cheaper gear and putting it into something else. I'd like to do a video on really what that is. Richard, thank you very much. Hi, Mind Over Meta. Welcome back, mate. When you play any game, it can become tedious after a length of time. And I love Grim Dawn. Great game. Yeah, I won't get into it too much. When the content comes, it is going to be in a couple of weeks, because I'm still just playing a whole shit ton of Grim Dawn. For those of you guys who may have never played it, it goes on Steam. It was on Humble Bumble for like $10 last week. I bought it for a friend of mine. Huge fun in terms of making your own builds and stuff. I absolutely love buildcraft in video games, and Grim Dawn just hits that sweet spot. Hits it in a really big way. So yeah, and then I'm also working on a little Chronomancer build here. Wow, mind playing Chrono. You gotta be fucking kidding me. What the hell is going on here? So yeah, I got a few things. Cooking, because like I was saying earlier, I've still been playing Guild Wars. I may have been down on it, but I've still been playing the shit ton out of it. For 6 months, all I've been doing is playing in Guild Wars 2 is fishing. My interest is currently on life support, waiting for Living World 6. See, the problem with that is that I don't think we're going to get a whole season of Living World. I don't. Here's the problem with ArenaNet since End of Dragons, and this is feedback for ArenaNet if anybody fucking cares. Man, they're shady with some of their communication. They're super shady with some of their communication. And I go back to the decision with End of Dragons to not allow ritualists and dragon stats in stat selectable gear. And you really had to read the wording to realize that this was an intentional play by ArenaNet. And unfortunately, what we're getting in terms of Living World Season 6, or the possibility of a Living World Season 6, is the exact same kind of shady communication. They have not come out and said there's not going to be another season. They've not come out and said there is going to be another season. And now with the new ArenaNet, you got to just figure, okay, so there's not going to be another season of Living World. They don't want to come out right out and say that because they're worried about the optics on it or whatever. I get that, but wow. So what are they planning? They've been super vague about it. Josh or Grouch or whatever has been pretty shady about it, just talking about there's going to be a new map, it's going to be open world, and that's all they've really said. And wow, I sat through a year-long content drought, and then they gave me an expansion and hit me with another one, And I get for some people this has not been a content drought, and I don't want to go off, but, my interest for this game is still there in terms of the build craft, but wow, don't ask me to finish my legendary sigils because I'm just not enjoying that part of it. So I think you got to kind of read between the lines. Is there going to be a Living World 6? What is the future? Or are we just going to get this little thing in here, this open world thing that Grouch was talking about, and then wait another 8 months for another X-Pack? I mean, is that what's going on? Because, yeah, I'm going to have to start making content for other games at that point. I mean, seriously, I want to make videos. Anyways, yeah. So I've still been enjoying playing the game. I've still been playing it on a daily basis. It's just the End of Dragons thing. I liked two things about End of Dragons. I love this. The junkyard in the middle here is probably the best open world spot to pick fights. This junkyard here. And I love this little mini dungeon down here, the Sanctuary of Iona, which is a lot of fun. Did I play Season 1 when it came out initially? No, I didn't. But I was never interested. Like, I already know what happens. I've already been to the maps, Yeah, they did a lot of work to restore it, and I appreciate that, but I already knew where the story was going, and my interest in this game has always been in the open world exploration. I honestly think it's what this game has always done best, and I mean, it's been years since we got any. And I just look back to what I thought was, probably the best point for this game, and I'm talking about specifically, Season 3 dropped 6 weeks later. We got Path of Fire. 8 weeks after that, we got Season 4, and it was slamming. Season 4 was some of the best content this game ever delivered. In the middle of that, we got a raid and a fractal and all sorts of stuff. And it's just not happening anymore, and that's a little sad. So I'm a little kind of, with my eye to the future on this one. So no, I did not initially play Season 1, but I was the kind of player who watched Dreamy Abaddon's 2.5 hour playthrough edit multiple times. I had already seen it. I'd already gone through it. So I don't know. I do appreciate some of the new stuff. Some of the new stuff is good. And the new strike mission is quite nice. I quite enjoyed the new strike mission. I really did. So, without getting too down on it, because, I've kind of said where I'm at this point. I am waiting for new content to come out. I do want to make some more videos at this point. It is not going to happen over the next 2 or 3 weeks because after I quit this today, I'm probably going to go buy one of the Grim Dawn expansions and burn through that with the rest of my weekend and do that. So that is that. So at this point, I will leave the floor to you guys. If anybody's got any questions, we'll just leave it at that point. I don't expect there will be many at this point. But yeah, Mind Over Mesmer, here it is. Kind of working on a little chrono thing in the background. That's the only place we're at. You know what? I'm going to do a 5-minute BRB.
When the engine is operating, air is drawn into the engine by means of the compressor, in the same way that the turning blades of a fan pull in smoke. Now the air is forced into the burning chamber, where it is mixed with fuel sprayed from the fuel injectors. When the fuel burns, it produces hot expanding gases. Let's think first about the usual ways of moving things. Let's see that action again, and this time think of the force. For every action force pushing against an object, there's an equal and opposite reaction force pushing back. This is a law of physics discovered by Sir Isaac Newton. Once again, an action force this way will produce a reaction force in the opposite direction. Now let's do it again and think about the reaction forces.
Sure, I could have stayed in the past. Could have even been king. But in my own way, I am king. Hail to the king, baby.
Fumes of gasoline, benzene, and naphtha, when they mix with air, are a powerful explosive. And when they reach an open flame, every minute of the day and night, all year long, there's a fire. Every hour of the day and night, all year long, one person dies and 4 are maimed by fire. When will this appalling rate of death and destruction come to an end? That is the challenge. How will you meet this challenge?
Crypt Keeper, welcome to the show. Welcome to the stream. Will, POF was, in my opinion, the best story content and diversity. It was also the best open world map design. It was, wow. I love POF so much. Seriously, POF was just insanely great for about 8 different fucking reasons. But yeah, hey, Crypt Keeper, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Gail, my personal opinion, haunt, most challenges. POF, really good story. EOD, most beautiful. EOD is good for a few reasons. EOD works because of the repeatable endgame content. Going all in on strikes was a really good move to keep people fucking engaged. I think that was good. I love the meta event at the end of End of Dragons. I love Dragon's End. I think Dragon's End is easily one of the best encounters in all of MMOs ever. Absolutely fantastic visuals, decent challenge, etc. Where EOD falls down for me. The quality of the story. Wow. My problem with the story of End of Dragons is all just wrapped up in the last shot where everybody's sitting there laughing like it's the end of a G.I. Joe cartoon circa 1986. It's just, I don't know. I won't get into it too much. Well, now look who's live. Holy smokes, Caddy Wampus. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, Heart of Thorns was relatively challenging. I quite enjoyed Heart of Thorns. I enjoyed Heart of Thorns because it was hard, because it was challenging, because walking around Verdant Brink was, you know, a gut check. Just walking around the open world was absolutely fantastic. But again, like I say, I got about two things I regularly go back for in End of Dragons. It just wasn't the expansion that I was personally looking for, I guess is the best way to put it. You know, I think it was impressive that they delivered anything in the middle of COVID, because if you worked in any kind of IT in the middle of COVID, or particularly if you worked in the video game industry, which I did, you understood just how working from home impacts video game design. And I'll just put it to you guys like this. Most game companies will outsource certain parts of their processes. And a good example of that is something with I have a little bit of experience with, which is the QA factor. And I know specifically ANET uses the company I used to work for QA. We lost about 60% productivity because of people working from home. So just the fact that they delivered a whole expansion pack working from home, to me, of the quality that they delivered a good expansion pack. It just wasn't one that really kind of hit me very well. I think that they deserve some kudos for delivering anything in the middle of that, particularly something as good as they did. And I think, you know, Gail, you've got a good point in that it's a very, very pretty expansion pack. It is really nice to just zip around. It also has some good meta events. I think that the meta events in End of Dragons are pretty good. I just don't think it's something that I wanted, you know, continually kind of play. I guess is the best way to put it. I'm going to invite Caddy to my party here. And so that's kind of where I landed on that. And I don't want to sound negative about the game. It just missed the mark with me as a player. It really did. And that's just, you know, it's not going to hit it for everybody. And I understand that the game is doing pretty well right now with its current focus. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to say, oh, they need to change. They need to change. And I go write a forum thread, but I'm still banned. So there is that. I will always bear a deep selfish grudge against EOD. On day 3, I got a chorus of people telling me to get off the map because they labeled my presence an optical to their turtle quest. You know, Gail, that is a problem that exists to this day, has existed from the beginning, and you can still see happening in Cursed Shore. Just about every night. You will get people screaming at you for doing events out of order for their gold farm, and they're still doing it in Cursed Shore every night. So I don't think that that's an EOD problem. I've been told to get off the map because Jack Garrett was going to be on, and I've had that happen in the last 2 months, you know? I've had people say, get off the map if you're not doing the meta in Tangled Depths in current year. So I'm not sure if I think that that's an EOD problem. I think that that's a greedy bitches problem for Guild Wars. I think you've always had a certain type of player that is so efficiency minded that they will tell anybody who isn't to F off. And I don't think that that was an EOD specific issue. Cattywampus coming in, saying, I've been told to get off maps in World versus World. Well, yeah, you get told to get told to do everything in World versus World. I mean, holy smokes. They seem to change a lot. I can't keep up. How rude. Everyone plays the game. How do they think they have the right to tell you to get off the map? Well, I mean, you get a lot of that. And again, you don't just get it on... you get... If you want to see the worst part of this community, you go and you Halloween farm, right? You do the Halloween farm, the Mad King's Labyrinth. And I have been yelled at more times in the Mad King's Labyrinth by efficiency-minded players because I'm doing things the wrong way or the inefficient way. And again, that's something that's been in the game for a while. So I honestly think that that's a kind of a personality thing. I don't think that that was a problem that was exacerbated by End of Dragons. I don't think it was a good idea to gate the mount behind the meta event. And I don't think that is a problem in any other game, but in Guild Wars, I think that the Guild Wars community, particularly when it comes to rewards, tends to be pretty... there's a pretty serious sense of expectation when it comes to the reward. I paid for this, so I should have the reward, not I paid for this, so I should get to earn it. And it's been a constant problem. And for them to not realize that that was going to happen before creating that meta event and setting up the reward structure was very surprising to me. Very surprising. That was not a smart decision. That was not a smart decision. Haven't played Guild Wars 2 in a long while. Been too addicted to Elden Ring. Let me tell you something about those Souls-likes. Now that Caddy is here, Caddy was really nice at Christmas and bought me a copy of Sekiro. And holy shit, am I bad at that game. Oh my god. I could stream it just so you guys could watch me die to trash mobs. It's absolutely awful. I was talking about Elden Ring with a friend of mine the other night. Kind of a funny story because he's got the same experience that I do. He loves video games, and yet we sit in front of these Souls games and we just get punished. And it's funny. I said to him, you know, I've got a copy of Assassin's Creed Origins and I've got a copy of Sekiro, and I've put more time into Assassin's Creed Origins, but Sekiro is a better video game. And the reason why is because it's just so not accessible to new players. It's just hard. Been taking a break. Yeah, I noticed that, Crypt. I saw you the other night. I saw you say that in the Fang Discord that you were taking a bit of a break there. Let's see. Haven't seen you around. Yeah. So, Crypt, you're a relatively new player. What made you hit that? What made you hit that wall with Guild Wars? It's really interesting because you hit it pretty quick. If you care to share with the group. So yeah, going back, you know, do I enjoy Sekiro more than Assassin's Creed? Yes. But which do I have more time in? I have a lot more time in Assassin's Creed because I don't die to fucking trash mobs in Assassin's Creed. Is just kind of the way to put it. There's got to be kind of that happy medium, you know? And a game like Guild Wars just runs it on the other side. It's just too easy kind of thing. Which is something funny. I've actually, as I mentioned earlier, I've been playing a number of other video games. What I have not been playing are other MMOs. I tried Lost Ark, and the moment I saw the progression system tied to the cash shop, I uninstalled. And that is the unfortunate reality of so many MMOs these days. So I stepped out of the genre and I played some other things. I played some single player games. I played some other games. I played a lot of Tekken, and it was really nice to play a game where skill expression was important. really nice to play a video game where skill expression is still important, because skill expression is not a thing in MMOs. MMOs are more about the time spent grinding, etc. So there is that. I don't know how much more I have left to say this morning, guys. I just wanted to kind of update you guys and say, you know, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to be making Tekken videos, but I do want to get back to making the content. He is back. Yeah, I am back. There will be videos at some point. I do have some open world build videos I want to do. They will be different. And I know that there are a lot of people that were there for as much for the presentation and the style of the videos as the actual content. And when I make changes like the ones I was talking about that are coming to the videos, I don't make them lightly, because I will go back to what I said when I first started making these videos, and that was that those first 100 people that hit that subscribe button, those are the people I'm still making videos for. And those are the people that I know were there for looking for a different experience out of the content. So when I'm making those changes, I'm not making them lightly, you know. So when I say, you know, the intros are going and they're going to be put in a different place and I'm going to be putting them up as shorts, it's not that I came to the decision lightly. And when I say that I'm cutting out the fashion content, I understand that those kind of things bring a certain je ne sais quoi to the videos. And a certain kind of ambiance to them, and I don't cut them out without thinking about it. Let's see. I have the same problem with Sekiro. I'm a longtime Soulsborne fan, but Sekiro is my least favorite because Sekiro is all about how good you can parry, which I can't do to save my life. What's funny about that, Gene, is that you come to the realization very early in Sekiro that you can parry just about anything. And if you hit that timing on that, the game becomes a whole lot easier. A whole lot easier. It's just the trash mobs that I struggle with, and it's a cadence thing. On Circus, all the quick changes to my class as a new player trying to learn what I'm doing and messing me up. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, Crypt. You picked a really bad time to start playing Guardian, didn't you? Because they fundamentally changed the way that worked, and then 2 months later said, yeah, no, mea culpa. Yeah, MMORPGs can be a lot of fun. The reality, Crypt, I will say this, is the biggest piece of advice I can give to you about enjoying Guild Wars 2 is that you need to play more than one class. You should optimally play probably 3 in Guild Wars 2. You should probably play 3 characters in Guild Wars 2. And the reason why is because the game is actually set up to reward you if you do that. That's my cat. Hi, Striker, little boy. Anyways, the game is really set up to kind of reward you for that, and the bonus is that if your class is going through what Firebrand has just gone through, then yeah. And I don't think that the game developers really thought that out too well. I mean, some well-meaning changes to a class that was absolutely busted for 5 years, but the position it puts you in as a new player is legit shit. It's legit shit because, you know, you came in, you learned it, you had to relearn it, and then they're like, oh yeah, no, they took that back. That's some crap. But again, my key to enjoying Guild Wars 2 has always been to have at least 3 characters, one of each weight class. Not good at learning multiple classes at once. Let me learn one first, please. That's valid. The other side of it is I think that you actually learn the game very much better by playing a variety of different classes and learning the mechanics. That's just me personally. Maybe pick something easy. Mechanist. Mechanist is a pretty good easy choice. There are some really good easy choices out there. I gotta think Scourge is still easy mode. Scourge is still wicked easy mode. So there is that. But yeah, Crypt, I think that there are some points when if you're making these kind of fundamental changes, Man, reversing those 2 months later, man, let me tell you something. 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 That is bad. That is just not on. Not sure what to tell you. But yeah, you know, I would pick up Rev. I would pick up Hollismith. Hollismith is some simple, easy fun. I would probably pick up Elementalist at some point. But yeah, that's kind of shitty. Would just hate to have to restart the gear grind again. Well, here's the thing about the gear grind crypt in Guild Wars 2 is that it's hard the first time around. The second time around, it's not so hard because you'll have a few boxes of those, World versus World boxes, etc., ready for you and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's options, but that's up to you. I certainly appreciate that was a shit position to be put in. Yes, they are. Yeah, well, they're reversing the changes to the mantras. And the tomes, aren't they? Are they not changing the tomes as well? So, yeah. I mean, the changes to the mantras are really good, but I wasn't exactly struggling with the new ones. But to change the fundamental mechanic like that, particularly while somebody's trying to learn, is kind of rough. Rev is fun. Rev is probably the biggest fun you can have in this game. I'm a Rev enjoyer. Yeah, Green Ghost is right. Exotic gear absolutely is the way to go. You know, it's actually funny. I was running some DRMs with Caddy the other night, and I hopped on my Harbinger, and I did this ludicrous amount of damage, like probably about 20-30% higher than either of us usually ever does. And I just turned to her and I said, "Yeah, maybe I should put some Ascended gear on this character." The difference between Ascended and Exotic gear is just not worth worrying about. You know, get your Ascended trinkets and weapons. Kit out in the Ascended in the Exotic armor. That's kind of where I'm at on this. Difference in Willbender virtues, difference in page cost for tomes. Yeah, that's what it is. It's to keep you from bumping up against that out of pages thing. Yeah. If you have Ascended, it's a pain. Well, Green Ghost, I hear that a lot, how hard it is to kit out in Ascended gear and stuff like that. It's not something I buy. I ran this channel without legendary armor. I didn't get my first set of legendary armor until this channel had been up for about, I gotta say, 6 months. I did everything in exotic gear. Or just like making Ascended, and stat swapping Ascended. I don't think that it's, nearly as grindy as other games. We're talking about best in slot gear, right? We're talking about best in slot gear in MMO. And what people don't realize when they don't play other MMOs is that best in slot gear in other MMOs can take months. Best in slot gear in Guild Wars 2 can take weeks. And can be stat swapped afterwards. You don't have to go and grind out another new set. So I think that there's something there. Bloodstone Fen farming, big believer in that. The Icy Hots, the Eternal Ice in Bior Marches. There are 2 Ascended trinkets there that can be essentially had in about 20 minutes. Exotics were decent, just need the accessories and the upgrades. With that Crypt Keeper, really, you gotta really just invest into a couple of Living World episodes and just grind out those Winterberries or grind out those Eternal Ice or whatever. That makes a really big difference. That Winterberry farm was the reason why I got Ascended trinkets on most of my tunes for the most of the time. Cheap Zerg gear for only Karma and Cursed Shore, I think it is. Yeah. Well, yeah, but Crypt, $5-10 in Living World episodes is a pretty big upgrade to your account's value in terms of how you're actually going to gear. It really is. It's not a huge difference, but it's absolutely there. Narrow selection and good price. Well, not only can you get things like Magi's, Rampagers, and Berserkers gear for Karma in Cursed Shore and in the Ore Temples, there's a lot of level 80 exotic gear that's on the TP, and I've been showing that in the But Cheaper series, that there's a lot of, viable gear that you can use and, kit yourself out for 12 gold until you can actually earn enough to make, the real money. And I really think that that's the way to look at it. I really do. Used to be part of your dailies. Yeah, it did. Winterberries, pearls, the daily routine before I capped out everything and was sitting on, right now, the reason I don't do it anymore, and I'll just give you guys an idea of what we're talking about here. The reason I don't do it anymore is because I'm sitting on a few bank tabs of, Ascended trinkets, which I've just kind of collected over the years, etc. Some of these can be reset, some of them cannot, etc. So I'm not in a position where I have to do it anymore. But yeah, the big ones were Bloodstone Fen every day, Winterberries, and the Orient Pearls were the big ones, and then the Eternal Ice Farm. Probably on top of that, you'd want to have Dragonfall, just to get the quick map complete bonus for that as well. Let's see. You get to a point where you just want to get rid of some of those trinkets. Yeah, the only problem is I just don't have any more legendary grind left in me. I've got one set of armor, just about every weapon. Last thing I did was the runes, the legendary runes. I have no more legendary grind left in me. I'm slowly working on the sigils. I can't grind out another stack of T6 materials. I just can't do it. Kill me now. I can't. I got nothing left. Cannot grind anymore. So I can't do it. So I'm good with the Bloodstone Fan and the exotics. The Ascended stuff. I just can't do the legendaries anymore. I've just had it. And the thought of doing another 2 armor sets is just too much for me. So I'm not going to do it. Yeah, the named exotic gear, a full exotic set can be had for less than 2 gold. Absolutely. Speaking of dailies, I need to log in just to start. Hey, farming login rewards is valid. Farming login rewards is completely valid, my friends. Feel you on that. After I grind a Legi, I am done playing for a while. I really hit the wall after my last ones. When I did the runes and I finished them, wow. I usually hit a harsh wall after a legendary. This one, I have not recovered from it. So really at this point, when we look at my materials, I still need 400 of every T6 material for the sigils. I have my clovers for the sigils. I just can't do it anymore. I don't have it left in me. It'll get done at some point, but the idea of grinding out those things on a daily basis I can't do it anymore. I can't do the big meta farms. I'm really burned out on big meta farms right now. So just finished Aurora, and that was a lot for me. I've never done Aurora. What do I have? I did the backpack in World vs. World. And I did the Return to trinket, I want to say. And I think that's the only trinkets that I did. Yeah, everything else is just exotics. Is Ascendeds. So, there you have it. But yeah, Caddy says I should PvP. Caddy, I was talking earlier about how you had to put up with my ass for the better part of about 2 months bitching on this game every time I booted it up. And now you want me to play some fucking PvP? You want me to play some PvP? Okay, yeah. The joke here is, guys, that the version of Mind Circus who comes out when I play PvP is not the guy you want to have a beer with. Yeah, no, I don't play PvP because I become an asshole, is the best way to put it. Salty, yeah. You should have recorded it. I was pretty grumpy for a while, so I don't think that playing PvP is really the play on this. It really isn't. And yeah, Caddy sees a different side of me than the audience does. What can I tell you? At any rate, folks, I think I'm just going to cut it here. Just kind of wanted to kind of jump in with you guys, let you know I'm still alive, let you know that there is some content on the way. This content will be coming when I am over my Grim Dawn addiction, which will probably take me another week or two because I did get to the end of the base game last night. I'm probably do an expansion over the next week or two and then get back to the Guild Wars stuff because over everything... you know, the one point I want to make through this conversation is I miss making videos. I just really miss making content for you guys. And the idea was just to get back into a spot where it's going to happen on a regular basis. So with that said, my friends, I am going to cut off the stream at that point. I'm going to thank everybody for showing up. Green, Crypt Keeper, Caddy, Gail... there were some other people who were in here as well, and if I missed you, hey, I'm sorry. Gene, I'm scrolling up. You know I'm scrolling. You know I'm doing it. Ken, all of you guys, thanks for stopping by this morning. Those of you guys who may be watching this on VOD or have some thoughts about some of the things I said about the changes upcoming to the content, please voice them down below. That's what it's all about, and I do obviously want to hear people up. And then I think over the next few days, I'll be putting up a poll on the channel just talking about, you know, what are the classes people want to see addressed in the new content first before I get started. And that is it. Yes, I'm glad we took this moment. I am glad we took this moment. All right, guys. You all have an excellent day. And we will talk to you all very, very soon.